Hey, it's Amber and Brian at the White Dog Farm, and for this installment of my video series, I thought I would do something different. Winton Road, we're up to Winton Road now, and Winton Road, we were there for what, 37 years?
Yeah, 37 years.
That's a lot of memories, a lot of time, and I thought it might be better, easier to do it like this. So Brian and I will just sit here in our kitchen and reminisce a little bit about some of the memories over the last 37 years at Winton Road. So, got our coffee? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I got my apple cider.
Okay. So, how you want to start?
I don't know. You start.
Well, let's talk about how did we come to Winton Road?
We came to Winton Road. Let's see, in 87, we had resigned from our church in Alabama.
You could call it that.
Resigned, kicked out, something.
Run out on a rail.
It was just not a good marriage between pastor and church.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
And the relationship between the pastor and church, I think, needs to be like a marriage, and it needs to be a good fit. And so, we just came up to Ohio with you, me, Cody as a toddler, and Bear, our dog. And we really came up to Ohio just to be with your mom and dad, just as a place to heal and find refuge until God would send us to Timbuktu, wherever that might be.
We didn't have anywhere to live.
We had nowhere to live. We
were living in a parsonage, so we didn't have a house to sell, to get another house. We had nothing.
We're homeless.
Nothing.
Homeless.
Pretty
So,
much,
yeah. And, and so we really thought God would just, in a few months, send us somewhere, Texas, Wyoming, who knows, Lord, please not New York. But we, in the meantime, needed to worship somewhere. And I think it was a Sunday evening. We thought we'd go to a little church in Hamilton. I forget even the name of the church. Maybe somebody recommended it to me, but I didn't get very much out of the car into the front door of that church, and the greeter looked like Dracula. And so I just thought, I ain't doing this. No, I ain't going in there. We were pretty wounded. And so we thought, Amber says, let's just go to a church where I used to go as a youth. And so we showed up probably about half hour late and didn't talk to anybody, didn't greet anybody. But that was Winton Road Church of God. We didn't go there to pastor, to serve. I mean, that was the last thing on our minds. But we just went there to find a church to worship at. Weird things started to develop.
Very weird. Very weird. So Howard Elliott was the pastor, and if you know Howard or knew Howard, you know how he would kind of freewheel it from the pulpit. Well, at the end of the service, he saw me sitting back there. I had gone to Winton Road when I was in the youth group. So he knew me, and he saw me sitting back there, and, hey, Amber, is that you back there? And is that your husband with you? And, what brings y'all up here? And then what happened? You want to tell us?
Oh, yeah, we had never talking to anybody in the church as we came in. We just wanted to be anonymous, sit in the back. We were late.
We were late.
Yeah, we were late, yeah. And so the very end of the service, that was happening, and some guy named Dave Neely stood up in front of us. We had not shaken his hand, introduced ourselves or anything.
Didn't know him at all.
And he stood up and he said, what did he say?
He said, Pastor, they're not here visiting, they're here looking for a church or something like that.
Something. It was really weird.
It was weird. It was like, do.
And, but what he said, it was like they're in transition or something. It just resonated with me because we were so wounded, churches can wound you, and we were wounded. And so I kind of had prayed, Lord, if you're in a church anywhere, show us the signs, show us something. So he stood up and said that. And it was like,
neon sign.
Yeah, God was speaking to us. And just that I'm still here, I care about you. Not necessarily this is the church where you're going to serve or anything. And so the service ends, and I stand up, and I shake his hand. And I says, tell me again what you said. He says, what do you mean, what did I say? What you just said. He says, I didn't say anything. His wife, Martha, said, you said this. And he said, I did. It was really weird. It was almost like God speaking out of the mouth of a donkey, or one of those miracle things. And kind of find out he was not one to ever stand up in front of church and testify or say anything. So it was it was really a God moment for us.
Yeah. And then at the end of the service, Howard made his way back to greet us and asked you to preach the next week.
I don't know why he would do that.
I don't either.
But I preached, and then we met for lunch sometime a week or so later, and he told me, people like how you preached, whatever, and we are looking for an associate. And I thought, oh boy, here we go. And he says, but we can't bring you on. We could not even bring you on for another 9 months or whatever it is, because we got 2 or 3 others we got to try out that we've already agreed to try out. Fine, I says, while I'm here, I can help you out with whatever, but I really was not in the mindset of staying at Winton Rd. I was not in the mindset of serving there. And I told him, I says, the next church I ever go to, I don't want to just preach 2 or 3 sermons and everybody take this vote, and then you're on staff. It feels like a blind date, marrying somebody you just went on a blind date with. And I says, a pastor church relationship is like a marriage, and it takes time to develop. And that really resonated with him because he had the same mindset. And so I just stayed, and we just volunteered there. I just volunteered there, and things just kind of, gelled, Yeah.
And you worked outside the church at a part-time job. So
Yeah, that was weird. I prayed one of those weird prayers. Lord, if there's any way I can, I'm not ready to trust a church fully with my income. And so if there's any way I could work outside the church, work part-time, but get full-time money, and then be able to
we
work.
all want that.
Yeah. And then work, part-time with the church. So, and he blessed me with that. It was really weird.
It's a horrible job, though.
It was a horrible job, telemarketing.
Ugh.
But I quickly made full-time money just working 5 hours, 3 or 4 hours a day, and I was able to spend the afternoons doing visitation and helping Howard, just volunteering my time.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good way.
Yeah.
And it's what we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is your funniest memory from Winton Rd?
Amber, I got a lot of funny memories.
I want to hear. I have my favorite funny memory.
Oh dear.
This is one about when you went to Kentucky to preach at a church with Steve Morgan, and you stayed overnight in somebody's house.
Yeah, we were, this was 20 years ago, I don't know, but yes, Steve said I have a relative down there, and they have a pastor, but he's going to be on vacation or something, and they need somebody to just preach this one Sunday. Fine, so we went down. After he got off work, we hit the road. We probably got into his relative's house to spend the night. It was a 2-story old farmhouse. Probably got there about 10:30 at night. We were exhausted. Well, we got there, and the old man of the house, he wanted to give us a little concert on his mandolin. I thought, oh God, I'm tired. My bedtime's 9 o'clock, let alone 10:30. And so, we drank a lot of coffee just to stay up, and
Be dangerous.
a lot of coffee. And so finally we got to go to bed upstairs, this old farmhouse. There's no bathroom upstairs, just 2 or 3 bedrooms. Steve had his bedroom, I had mine, kind of these antique bedrooms, antique house with these old big doors, crickety old house. And so all this coffee in the middle of the night, probably about 2 or 3 hours into sleep, and I woke up, man, I had to go, I had to use the restroom. Yeah. And so I got up, went to the door, knowing there was a bathroom downstairs. I pull on the handle, the door's not opening. It has one of those glass, handle things, big old doorknob, that's what you call it. And yank it, and the next thing you know, the doorknob just pulls right out. I thought, oh God. So I tried to stick my finger in there. Well, I can't get the leverage. The door's stuck. I thought, well, I'll be okay. I'll just go back to bed. Well, half hour later, I really got to go. I'm thinking, I was looking for a garbage. If I can't open this door, maybe there's a garbage can. There was no garbage can already. I thought, okay, 2-story house. Maybe I hate to say it, pee out the window in the middle of the night. So I went to the window, and I didn't even crack the window because there was a police officer, cruiser, sitting right out there monitoring whatever traffic. Oh boy. I went back to bed. I thought, we can do it. No, 15 minutes later, I'm up. Gotta find something. So this old lady, I'm sorry, this kind of offends people. She had these old flower vases, big things. Okay.
They found another use that night.
They found another use that night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I filled up one and filled up another. Okay, I'm good. Okay, we'll figure out what to do with these in the morning. Well, I'm doing that. It was about 3 hours later, and I had to go again. I start to pound on the wall, see if I can get Steve's attention. Then I said, no, he's sound asleep. He can't open my door. Go back to sleep. Now, the light of day is starting to come. Nobody's up. She's out of vases. She has no more vases. I'm looking up in the bed, and there's a light fixture up there. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do the light fixture. No. So, eventually Steve woke up. I pounded on the wall, and he came. And Brian, what's the matter? I said, open the door. So he crashed through the door, got it open. And so we got to empty this out. We just can't leave them there.
No, you're just going to leave it for...
No, we're not going to leave it. So I wrapped him up in my clothes to go downstairs. I'm taking a shower, and I think I'll just creep down there, empty it out. Who'd I run into? The lady of the house, the old lady of the house.
Of course.
She says, oh, old stuff? Here, let me take it for you, blankets or whatever it was I had wrapped. No, that's okay. I'm just going to get a shower. Oh, let me just take that old towel, I finally had to explain. Yeah.
And?
I don't know what she said, but I'm pretty sure those vases ended up on eBay the next week. So
careful if you get your vase at Goodwill.
Yeah.
Don't know where it's been.
Yeah, so that was embarrassing. It's fun to look back on stuff that you do in life and be able to laugh at yourself. And so, yeah. How about you? One of your funniest memories at Winton Rd?
Oh my. I don't know. I haven't really thought about this a whole lot. We went on Pine Ridge mission trips quite a bit. That was what I did for 12, 13 years as I led mission trips out to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. And I would take a group out there for at least a week every summer. And John Lansdale was a guy who went with us most every year. He was our cook. He was our happy chef. There's a whole story behind that too.
Happy chef.
But we were going to go, our group was going to go down to a house in the village. And the missionaries out there had told us, oh, you need to really spray down with bug spray because the ticks down there are just terrible. They're little bitty ticks and they get all over you. You just really, really, really need to spray down good with bug spray before you go, because we were going to ride in the back of pickups and go down this dirt road, and so we're all in the kitchen. John had a fit. He's like, what are you doing spraying all that in my kitchen, because he was very concerned about being sanitary. And I said, but John, and I was telling him about the ticks and how bad they were, and he looked at me and he grabbed that thing out of my hand and went sprayed himself down. So, we had a lot of funny memories. I remember when a kid hung a door over Dennis's head. Yeah, it was a screen door, and I think some of the kids had broken it earlier in the week, and Dennis is standing there. You know how tall Dennis is, and the screen door that has no screen in it, and this kid walked by and just hung it over his head. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was going to die laughing. It was probably the closest I have ever seen Dennis come to really losing his temper.
Wow.
But I think there was a backstory to that I wasn't aware of. But anyway, just some of that kind of stuff.
Pine Ridge, we had a lot of weird memories. One time, Dennis and I were working on Melda's house or somebody's house, and so it was just us in the afternoon. Y'all were doing VBS because we had to finish some projects, and some of the natives came, on horseback, and one of them was it Marty? Was his name Marty? Marty. I forget his
Marty
name.
Waters.
Marty Waters.
Yeah.
And he said to me, you want to ride? I said, okay, sure. Try to be a good missionary kind of person. Go with the flow. So He says, he got on his horse. Now, there was no saddle. This was bareback. And so he says, get behind me. I'll take you just for a little ride. Oh, that was a disaster. So I got behind him. I'm kind of on the horse's butt, And so we start to go, and then he puts it into more of a gallop kind of thing instead of this little trot. And
you are not a horse person.
I'm not a horse person. And so I thought, I got to hold on to something. So I grabbed around his waist, and he swatted me off. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. We're going. So then I tried to grab the horse's tail. Then I realized that's probably not a good thing. And so I just kind of squeezed my legs around the horses. But I mean, we are going full trot. I mean, it was scary.
Went on a ride.
We went on a ride. I thought I was going to get bucked off and thrown into a bunch of rattlesnakes or something.
That was maybe the plan. I don't know.
Maybe the plan. And I think I bribed him to get me back safely. I mean, that's just,
He was having fun.
he was having fun. I'll give you 2 Indian tacos, if you get me back safe. He said, no, 3. I says, whatever, just get me back. So that was fun. A lot of memories.
Yeah. So, here's another question.
Okay.
This may be a little harder. What is your most memorable altar service?
Oh, memorable altar service.
Could be crazy, could be good, could be whatever. Just...
I'm thinking of some, but I probably shouldn't talk about them. Even though the people are deceased.
Yeah, let's not go
Let's
there.
not go there,
Yeah.
with those. But, just crazy. I don't know. Memorable. I mean, we've had so many. And the cool thing about Winton Rd, and I think it'll continue, I hope it continues, is that we do have an open altar. And at any time, anybody can come up there and pray. You don't have to wait till the preacher says, okay, it's prayer time. You don't have to wait till the end of the sermon. I mean, people have felt that freedom. I remember an altar service, and it wasn't designed to be an altar service. We were just serving communion on Sunday night, maybe 30 years ago or something. And the next thing you know, a few of these family members from over in the corner start coming forward to the corner of the altar. And it was Howard Hitzman and Brian Hitzman and Gary Hitzman and that Hitzman group. And I think it was that night in a communion service, unplanned, God moved, and people gave their hearts to Christ. I would say that was a real memorable one.
That would probably be my most memorable.
Yeah.
Most memorable funeral.
Oh gosh. Funerals is where weird things happen. I don't know what it is, but I would say the most memorable one was kind of tragic, but the Lord worked. And so should I use names?
No.
Okay, don't use names.
They'll recognize themselves.
They'll recognize themselves. But so a man committed suicide, and I remember going to UC Hospital and just ministering to the family, and it was just horrible. And there's things I saw that I probably better not even say here on the phone in terms of description. But the family, in their grief, they're in the hallway just crying. They said, oh, Vic, V-I-C, like Victor, Vic, why did you do this? What happened? And it was a horrible time. And I'm happy that the family allowed me the privilege to just be there and minister to them. Well, they would have Vic's funeral into the week or whenever. And so I went to the funeral home. I had all my notes. And prior to going to a funeral, I always look up the obituary and just make sure I have names right. And so he didn't go by Vic in the obituary, went by something else. And so I had that something else name written down. Well, there at the visitation, people are still saying, I'm hearing Vic. So I'm thinking, you know what, let's go personal. I like personal funerals. So I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and just rewrote some of my notes and crossed out his formal name, just wrote Vic through the whole thing. So at the funeral, I'm just going, Vic this, Vic this, Vic this. Well, I'll always remember Vic for this. And at the end of the service, the family started passing by and just very politely. The final one to pass by was Vic's brother. And his brother said to me, Pastor, how about if we leave Vic here at the funeral home, not take him to the cemetery? I said, what? He says, yeah, let's leave Vic here. Instead, let's take Bic, B-I-C. B as in boy, I-C, Bic, like a big pen. Bic.
Got the name wrong.
I got the name wrong. I
service.
screwed it up. Screwed it up, the whole thing.
Fortunately, that family has a great sense of humor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's probably one of their good
But
memories.
how do you recover from that? And so we went to the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
We unloaded the casket, put him on the thingy, and everybody's gathering around. The funeral director says, okay, Pastor, you're on again. And so I thought, we got to solve this. We got to. And so I says, these were my words. I says, folks, you're a gracious, loving family, and we decided to leave Vic, V-I-C, at the funeral home and bring Bic, B-I-C, out instead. They all cracked up laughing. And they were not laughing at me, they were laughing with me. It's good to laugh at yourself.
They're a good family.
And this family has always been dear to my heart. Special family. And in the midst of tragedy, maybe God allowed my blunder to bring a little levity to it, just to lighten things up a little. So yeah, that would be my most memorable.
There's another one, also in Kentucky. I don't know what it is about Kentucky, but and funerals are not funny things, but stuff happens.
Okay.
I mean, stuff happens. So
I won't name the family.
No, don't name
again,
the family. You don't need
but,
to do that.
I'll name the deceased. It was a little baby named Angel. Beautiful family. And, for whatever reason, Angel was called to heaven even before she was born. And so the father made a casket. And we would go down to Kentucky, Size Rock, Kentucky, middle of nowhere, and bury little Angel in a family cemetery at the end of a holler. And the father had an accident, we'll put it that way, where he could not dig the grave or pull the casket out of the vehicle. And so family was there, and for whatever reason, he says, Pastor, will you dig the grave? I said, sure. So there's a shovel. How do you dig this? And so I dug it, not 6 feet deep, but just deep enough, for a small casket. And he says, this wide. He said, a little bit wider. Okay, a little bit wider. Then he says, Pastor, that's good. And everybody's watching me do this. I'm in my suit. And then he says, Pastor, can you go to the back of the station wagon and just bring the casket? What I didn't know is he encased this homemade wood casket in cement, like a vault. A lot of cement. And so, absolutely. And so I got it, and this thing was heavy. And I'm slowly trying to be dignified, trying not to trip or anything else, just bring this casket through the crowd to the little grave we dug. And he says, Pastor, now you can set it down into the grave. And so I'm thinking, don't drop it down in there. This got to be dignified. So I remember in gym, heavy weights, you squat, you use your legs, don't use your back, squat. And so I'm squatting. I squatted as far as I could before I gave it that final little drop down. On that final squat down, I heard this rip sound. It was my pants. My pants ripped.
Feel a little breeze.
Oh, there was a Kentucky breeze that went through my pants. Nobody knew it, but I knew it. I dropped the casket down. I stood up, backed up from the grave, and proceeded with the service. I think it was, his aunt. At the dinner afterwards at her house, she stitched up my pants.
You just never know what you're gonna.
Oh my gosh! There's nothing like a Kentucky breeze going through your crotch. Just saying. That was memorable. That was memorable.
Yeah.
Some of the most memorable ones are the funny ones.
Yeah.
You got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Sense of humor is a lot. Gets you through a lot. Yeah. Anything else you got?
How about you?
Oh, gosh.
your most thing that happened.
Dementia runs in my family, so my memory is not.
Where you had to laugh at yourself.
Oh, like every day, but I can't recall anything right off. Can't recall anything right off.
Really?
Yeah.
Most recently, one of our leaders who works in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
One of our leaders works in the kitchen, so they were doing this meal thing or something. I don't know what it was, but anyway, the big sink that they used was clogged with whatever. Sometimes I just like to do things just to mess with people.
Oh, you probably just didn't know any better.
I didn't know any better, but there was this clog, and we didn't have one of those things, so, she says, Pastor, is there any way you can help me with this clog? I said, I'm looking. I said, I got the perfect solution. And so I walked out of the kitchen. The men's bathroom is right next door, and so in the men's bathroom, there's this nice plunger. So I brought it into the kitchen. She went looking, and just as I started, she turned and she had this mortified, what do you call it, mortified look? Or,
well, no wonder.
The sanitary kitchen used the toilet plunge. It's so fun to mess with people. It's so fun to laugh. Mm-hmm. Ministry's tough. Mm-hmm. But if you can't find places where to laugh and enjoy, and I think I got to believe that Jesus, with his disciples, found those moments just to laugh and have a good old, rib splitting laugh and just enjoy. And I think God enjoys laughter. Yeah. The joy of the Lord is our strength. And
when I picture Jesus, I often picture him just in a good old belly laugh about something.
Yeah.
Well, I think we are on almost 30 minutes here,
Oh my goodness.
so we probably better.
There's a time limit.
Well, people only want to listen to us for so long, and then they're going to go.
That's like preachers. You don't want a long-winded
They're too
preacher.
long.
They're too long. Less is less.
Less is more. Yes.
Yeah. And more is less.
Huh?
Something like that.
I don't know.
Less is more. Less is more.
Less is more.
Less is more.
Okay, so we'll talk to you later. Go make it a good day.
Bye.